Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live. Today I will be explaining to you how I created this balloony looking character. It's all animated and created actually just using the iPad. Alright, so I will explain it using Blender because it's easier. So currently, okay, you can see this creature is animating. This is actually just an animated shape keys that's being looped. And if we look at it through the camera, so the camera is actually, this is actually using an app called Camtrack AR. So it's taking this footage and I simply can drop my 3D animations there. However, I want to just explain how I created this using just the iPad. So first, using any kind of paint app, maybe like Procreate. Here I'm using Paper by WeTransfer. It used to be called Paper 53. I just make like a quick doodles using the iPad. I simply export it out as a texture. And from this texture, I'm using something called Monster Mash. So this is actually really interesting, kind of like a 3D creation software. So if we just bring this as a template, all you need to do is just like just trace over your artwork. So the artwork can be created using anything, but like I said, you can use any paint app. And with this app, all you need to do is like draw like a big shapes, and then you add, like additional limbs, etc. And this will, the next steps, you use inflate, and it's gonna create a 3D for you. It's pretty cool, right? This is like just in a few seconds you can do this, and you can animate it. So the way this this thing animates is using some kind of joints that you can place all these red dots, and you can move things around. Actually, I think I draw it wrong, but we can try. Just hit record and then start moving things around, and then do this again. So like in this case, this kind of I'm making, this is like a kind of like a fish creatures. Fish is actually, it's a really simple one way of you can create like really simple character is looking at fish. Reptile is slightly more complicated. Insects actually kind of complex, but fish is really simple. You can make something like this using like grease pencil maybe. And once you're done with this, you just export it out as GLTF. This will actually bake the shapes. It doesn't use animated bones. If you use animated bones, when you export it out, it will use the bones, but in this case, it's just gonna use shape keys. So let's file, import GLB, GLTF. So the GLB or GLTF format is pretty good for things like for AR. If you are creating like lenses for Snapchat or things like that, like Spark AR, you will need another app to create interactions. But in this case, I'm just gonna demonstrate it to you in Blender. Oh, actually that's nice. So now we have two fish. Okay, the second fish is not animating, it's not looping because I need to just collapse this into actions and just repeat this 20 times or something. I'm using Blender NLA, nonlinear animations. So now we have big fish and small fish. Look at it through the camera. They're both animating slightly differently. Yeah, I'll call this like a balloony character. I think it's very interesting. If you, like I said, if you export it out as if you want to export it as USDZ. USDZ format is for Apple device. Any Apple device will play the USDZ. It doesn't have bone. It doesn't have animations because USDZ always expected to have bone animations. Currently, we only have shape keys, so it's not supported yet. For USDZ, so this is AR as been shown in real environment. I'm using actually something called 3JS editor. If you Google 3JS editor, you can import the GLB and then file export it as USDZ. But like I said, the GLB format is enough if you're making like AR lenses. So if you really want to do this using Blender, there are many ways to do this. You can use 2D paint mode in Blender, but I think Blender Grease Pencil is a lot more powerful. So if you try anyway, let me demonstrate. Grease Pencil blank draw mode. Right, by default, strength is not set to maximum. I'll just set it to maximum. So we're gonna create the fish artwork. By default, we have this black stroke. You can use this as a template. Maybe we can do that. So we're gonna make like a fish character. Let me just make something real simple. If you commit to the stroke like this, you have limit on how you're gonna draw the shapes. So I think it's probably better idea to start with a shape. Okay, let's start again. New material. Instead of just black stroke, we're gonna use fill. Try this yellow color fill, for example. So this is just using the fill. You can draw any shapes, and you can add anything like a lens or whatever part of the fish that you want. Let's try this using another fill color. This is still painting it on the same layers, because Grease Pencil has layers. Yeah, see, you have a lot of freedom on where you want to add details if you are doing it this way. Again, new material, different fill color. You don't need to worry about the color. You can always change it later. This is like a fish character. Usually have the head part, and if you want to draw the mouth, you can just use like a fill color that's white color. Okay, you don't need to worry about anything. This is like a free form 3D animations, artwork creations. Now for the eyes, let's just use like a darker, maybe blue, purple color for the eye. Yeah, we can do it this way. So let's save this very quickly. Ballooney. I call this ballooney fish. Can be any creatures that you can draw from the side view. Okay, maybe because this is like a fish, I want to draw this part, the fin. Yeah, I think this is quite alright. Okay. Now, this is the layers we've been drawing on. I'll create another layer. create new material so you can see, and this is the stroke. We should call it strokes. So this is the default ink, but the grease pencil have this pretty cool ink called ink pen rough. Yeah, I like that rough looking ink. You can now add bit of details. Things like that. Right? Pretty cool. You can take screenshot or render this out. I think you can just viewport render image. Yeah, you're gonna get that. But in order to do this properly, oh well, don't worry about that for now. I'm just gonna take a screenshot. View render image. I think the RGB become less saturated. Anyhow, save as bfish. Let's call it bfish. And then back to monster mash. Import template image. You can do this using just the iPad. Like I said, the whole thing can be done using the iPad. But I'm doing it here on the desktop just so it's a little bit easier, because I still need to use Blender. Oops, did I just right click? This is easier if you're using a stylus, but I'm using mouse. Oh, I like the teeth part, however. Let's just do it this way. Okay, inflate. Hopefully this works. Okay. Wow. Okay. Start again. Import template image, fish. Okay, let's do this again. This time I should make the big shape. Okay, this is the hardest part. Okay, I think that's better. Okay, cool. Inflate. Hopefully this works. Right. Now we have our fish character that we can animate. Turn on record. Let's just animate the tail. Hit record again. Animate the mouth. If you're using if you're using Blender, you can also do something similar using record, just like moving the bones, but you need to draw the bones. What's happening here is actually it's using your artwork and it creates this 3D balloony mesh for you, and then project the 2D texture into the mesh. You can do the same thing inside Blender, but this is just a lot simpler because you don't need to do the 3D part, and you just export the animations as GLB or GLTF. Animation length 35 frames. Okay, cool. So from this, let's save this, our beautiful grease pencil. Actually, with grease pencil, because this is grease pencil in Blender, you can easily create animations as well, even though it's flat. I think it's something to think about. There are many ways to do 3D animations. So let's get back to our environment. File, import GLB, GLTF. Okay, so this is our new fish. Just create it in a few seconds. So it's animating a little bit, right? But let's see. This is our new animations. I turn it into NLA, nonlinear animations, and repeat it. So this is if you want to render this out inside Blender. But for what I like to do, I turn this into AR lenses or augmented reality. And yeah, you can drop it in real world. You can share it with your friends. Okay. Yeah, so maybe that fish like to be alone. So if you're inside the camera and you want to move things around, you can create a new 3D view and simply just put the fish over there. Yeah. In AR, this is going to be a lot easier. So we have this fish family and that fish alone on the chair. Okay, so that's a quick tutorial to how to make like a really simple 3D. This is like a more, if you're doing a cooking, this is more like an instant 3D. But like I said, the whole thing can be created using just your iPad. You don't need to use Blender, but if you want to use Blender, you can do more, like you can create bone animation, so you can export it out as USDZ that has bone. Of course, in Blender, let's say this is like a fish character, you want to animate it properly, right? You want to make it, because it's swimming in the air, you want to kind of moving the character ups and down like this. So you can do that quite easily. I'm gonna stretch this animation. This is like a really improvisation style of animations. But how easy is this? You can do this in just a few minutes. And you can try render this out. I have a bit of lag being set up. I probably need to have like a shadow catcher there. Yeah, but that's basically the whole process. I want to try the same thing, but I think the Monster Mash is really powerful. I believe this is from Google, from developer at Google. Yeah, you can use 3js.org editor. So 3js is done by, I believe, another Google developer. Look at this. This have this character. Did I bring it? I can't remember. File, import our fish character. You can see here it's dark color. We need to add light, directional light. Okay, you can see our fish. The cool thing is that you can export as USDZ. once you see this like USDZ, if you are using the iPad to do this, the USDZ can be shared into your iPhone or iPad, and this is gonna work as AR already. But like I said, if you are using, you want to create like lenses, you will need like Blender maybe to do more, and you need to use the lens app like Spark AR or Snap Lens, or I think TikTok also have an app to create augmented reality. So now we have 3 fish that's animating in Blender, and you can render this out from the camera. I can give you this environment for you to play with. It's pretty big, but easy to set up. Okay, so yeah, hopefully you find this interesting and useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.